guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So if you saw my previous video featuring the Crafty Individuals stamps, I said that I was going to hopefully do some sort of series of making some ephemera, possibly making some sort of journal. I am going to try and make you know, some sort of journal, I think, with them. And I'm feeling, for some reason, I'm feeling blues and I'm feeling a ring bound style journal. And what I thought I would do, just going to move this stuff out of the way, is endeavour to use some of my old scrapbook papers, you know, that I've had for a really long time and just now, you know, haven't used them up, and it's probably time that I did, to be honest. So this one here is called the Trade Winds Stack. It's from Die Cuts with a View. As you can see, it's actually really lovely paper, and it was in the most gorgeous shades of blues and this really rich, beautiful like orangey, rusty type colour. Really pretty. And I have used, you know, as you can see, most of the pad, well, quite a lot of the pad anyway, but I do have obviously quite a bit of the pad now remaining. So what I thought that I would do is take certainly the blue shaded pages, and as you can see, it also has this absolutely awesome matte pages, which I just, oh, really love, and I have been hoarding these because I love them. So all I'm going to do is tear these out, obviously, in the first instance. Let me just try and grab a whole bunch of them, so you're not literally watching me tear out, you know. Right, so I have got the pages now torn out. And basically what I quite like to do is use them as my base of my page. For, you know, my ring bound pages, because basically, you know, you've got then a nice solidy surface that's going to be quite robust and things for putting all of your embellishments on. Now this page here, for instance, if I just kind of pop it up so that it's definitely on the screen, I love this section of this paper. However, I would probably struggle now to use that in a journal. I would have loved it for a scrapbook page. A journal, I would perhaps, you know, find that difficult to incorporate that. So basically what I want to do is I'm going to cut my papers down to, it's approximately A4 size, but slightly bigger actually. And I need to decide, do I want to have, you know, this partially into a page? Like if I went up here, I would have like half of it on the bottom. Do I go for it where it's completely all over the page and I have to just cover the whole thing up, but then I have this section of paper which I can then use for something else? Do you see what I mean? And work out what's the best way to do it. So for me, I think I'm going to actually go for it like that, so that I'm actually getting rid of basically the whole image, because I'm then going to be covering up the entire thing. And then what I'm going to do, a hideous cut in there, but I'm going to just fold that in half like that. Again, you can obviously use your bone folder or not, completely up to you. And then I often quite like to actually stitch them on the sewing machine. You can coffee dye them, completely up to you, but stitch it around like that, and that's going to be your base of your page. So what I tend to do is just dab a bit of glue, you know, into the middle section, that's just going to stop that being like a baggy bag, if that makes sense, like in the middle of the page. And then I will take that down to my sewing machine and just then stitch around it. Obviously I will get rid of this tatty awful cut edge, and I will neaten it up, you know, once I'm stitching it in. And again, you know, your pages don't all have to be identical. If some are slightly shorter, that's fine. It's all going to look great, you know, by the end of the journal. Obviously, don't then ditch these pieces, because you can use these pieces then either to make some coordinating embellishments for your journal, or obviously we can use them in our mass makes and all of those kinds of things. But what you might like to do now to get your rough size pages is take this strip, say, and use this like a template to cut your other pages down. So for instance here, I'm just going to pop it to the edge of there, oops, to the edge of there, and then I'm just going to trim that down like that. And again, just then fold my page in. You know, doesn't matter, I will tidy all the edge pieces and what have you up afterwards. And I'm just going to glue it down so that it's not completely bagging around like that. Okay. I mean, I just think this is really quite a neat way of doing your pages for ring bound journals. So that's my first two. Obviously I won't bore you by doing this same process for all of those pages, because how boring, but just to sort of give you an idea. I mean, ring bound journals I find really you know, what's the word, develop, I guess, evolve, and become very fat and very chunky, because you can really go to town on how you embellish them. So you probably don't want to go too, you know, too berserk with how many pages that you have. So for instance here, I've got these two, then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's like 7 pages, which is actually 14 sides. That's probably more than enough, to be honest. I know it doesn't sound like many, but trust me, it will be kind of, you know, it will be fine. Because then what I like to do is put in a section for journaling pages, using some thickish, just coffee dyed cardstock. So there will be that for your journaling. But also on these pages, they're going to be quite highly decorated and probably have a lot of pull-out pieces. So although it doesn't look like you're going to have much journaling, by the end of the journal you probably will, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to go now and cut my pages and glue them and what have you, and stitch them around on the sewing machine, and then I will come back. Right, I am back, and whilst I was down there, oh sorry, let me just move some of this stuff, because I've now dragged in all sorts of other things ready for other projects that I'm planning. Whilst I was down there, I obviously stitched these around. I mean, obviously, you know, this is now the next day actually, because I obviously stitched all of these around, and as you can see, I then decided to actually coffee dye everything, so that we've got everything coffee dyed and, you know, ready to play and have a use, you know, for that really nice kind of vintage grungy look. Now, grab my stamps back in. Okie dokie, so we're going to have, you know, a sort of eclectic feel really of a combination between some digis, obviously the scrapbook papers, and obviously using these beautiful, beautiful stamps. So if I move everything out of the way, and we would just take literally what I would deem to be like, you know, the first page. So let's just say take this page here. I mean, it doesn't matter, you know, they're all going to be worked on, so it doesn't really matter what way round we're going to work on them. But I'm just going to trim these threads off, because much as I quite like threads, these are just really, really long. So hold on. Okay, so I mean, as you can see, all I have done is obviously stitched around the edge. Again, just atrocious stitching going on there. Just awful, awful sewer. Right, now let's have a look and decide which of these beautiful stamps that we want to incorporate and use on this page. So I'm thinking maybe the postcard, and I'm thinking maybe this one, because they're like a similar sort of theme, and we didn't use those obviously last time, so it's all a bit exciting to be able to play with something a bit different. Right, now where did I put the rest of my foam, because I now haven't mounted them, so let me just hunt around for my foam for a moment. Okay, so I have located my foam now. So, sorry, let me just tuck my chair back in. Okay, so let's get our beautiful stamps out. Okay. And again, obviously I'm going to try and mount these, you know, being as frugal as I can so that I really get the most out of my foam. So I might avoid that corner because I might be able to get another one of those little ladies in that corner. Although, I'm now thinking, probably that is the best use of that, actually. So let me just line my postcard up as well. So I could do it like that, and then I've got that corner there for one of those ladies. So again, I'm just going to cut around my foam, you know, just being really stingy, trying to just get it as close there to the stamp as I can. And then just bear with me, I'm just going to get my black StazOn out. Okie dokie. So obviously I have not played with these stamps at all since, you know, since that first video. So these are my first ever time of stamping with these as well. But hopefully you can see, I mean, they're beautiful images. So I'm looking forward to using them. So all I'm doing is, again, just stamping on the back of that foam, so that at a glance I know what that stamp is. Isn't that a lovely, lovely stamp? Oh, it's just gorgeous. So let me just apply that onto the foam now. Okie dokie. There we go. And then whilst I've got the foam, I might as well just quickly do the postcard here as well. So again, I just cut the foam down roughly to size. Woo. Just like flinging it about now. Okay, so I'll just trim that down there. And then I'll trim it down after I stick the postcard on. So again, exactly like the other one, I'm just going to stamp on the back of the foam. You know, you don't have to do that. I mean, I just find that's quite nice to be able to see what stamp it is. So again, just press that down like that. Ooh, stuck on the foam. Oh, isn't that just beautiful? They are lovely stamps, I have to say. Yeah, really, really lovely. So hopefully we're going to have a nice time playing with these in this journal and making some ephemera and things. And you know, we might not just make for this journal, we might make some ephemera pieces for some other things as well. But I just thought in the first instance we'd just do like a couple of page layouts. Oh, that foam's stuck on me. A couple of page layouts, just getting us kind of started and on the way in this journal. So let's just now pop these back in the packet, because I'm trying to be so good and obviously look after them nicely. Right, we'll pop that away. So let's take something that we're going to stamp it onto. So I'm just having a look to the side to see what I've got here. I have got this sort of fly sheet thing from the Children's Encyclopedia. So we could stamp them onto that. Let me just see whether I'm going to get them both on if I do that way round. Yep, I think I will. So probably shouldn't really stamp on that because it's a bit bumpy where it's been coffee dyed and ironed now. Sorry, forgot to say that. Yeah, I also did obviously iron it. So coffee dyed and ironed. That's the only form of ironing that I do. I don't iron clothes. I just buy things that don't need ironing or aren't going to need ironing. Right. Hopefully. Now, please excuse my disgusting block. I think I just touched that twice, which probably ruined that image now. Yeah, I mean, I did touch it twice, but isn't that gorgeous? And actually I stamped over there a little bit, but what a beautiful, beautiful stamp. So I'm just going to take that off, and then we're just going to stamp down there this other one. So just bear with me. Apply the ink. And then we just stamp that on here, like that. Oh, that's just so gorgeous, isn't it? Beautiful, delicate script, this one. I've got other scripty stamps, but this is very delicate. Really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to just take that off and move these out of the way. And then what we're going to do, when I do ring bound journals, I really like sort of layering up elements on the page. I just find that really kind of fun. And that's exactly what I thought that we could play around and do today. So I've brought along, hold on, some of my Dawn Mist background pages, just kind of putting things away as I sort of stumble across things. Some of my Dawn Mist background pages, which I thought would just go really nicely. I said before, I mean, I was really just feeling a blue theme for some reason with these stamps. So to be honest, I'm not really that bothered which one I use, because I think most of them are going to look pretty nice on here. So, oops, I'm just going to take this one. And all I'm going to do is just tear, so I'm going to tear this section off and just tear this around, you know, not in any particular way, because obviously I'm trying to cover up this image here. So if I just pop that onto the page, you see, it just gets rid of that. So just going to tear it down a little bit more, like that. And I will probably, I think, just go for it like that. And then I'm going to layer it up with this beautiful, beautiful scripty stamp. So just, again, tearing around that, trying to be a little bit careful. Oops. She says as I tear straight into it, but oops. Okay, so we're just sort of layering up the elements, and again, I'm not going to actually fix them onto the page until I've got a little bit of, at least, you know, vague direction in how I'm going. Now, very weirdly, I'm feeling the white lace again, a bit like we did in the Gosford Green journal. Now, that may or may not pan out. You know, I might kind of get a little way in and think, oh no, you know, that white lace looks really peculiar. But that's how I'm feeling at the moment. So I'm just trying out whether, if I'm enclosing, or not enclosing, sorry, including any doily pieces, I'm just having a look to see whether, do I want them white if I were having white lace, or is that then like an overdose of white? So am I then better off having like coffee dyed doily? I think I prefer the coffee dyed doily, even though I'm going to go with the white lace. And so also what I'm going to do is obviously stitch some more white lace ruffles, because I haven't got any left from my Gosford Green journal, but I'm just going to you know, stitch some more of those in some, you know, some downtime. So I've got these pieces, obviously, that we had already stamped the other day when we were just taking our first look at these stamps. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to cut this piece out, which is this gorgeous background stamp. And this is literally just stamped onto some coffee dyed paper. Like that. Okay, so I'm sort of happy with how this page is beginning to take shape. What I'm going to do is stick this background page down again, just so that I've got you know, something adhered to the page, and then I know where I'm going with this, if that makes sense. So just going to fix this onto the page as like a starting point, and then I'm going to layer up a couple of other pieces, and then we'll make what's going to effectively be like our pocket or our fold out. Again, you know, I haven't got a fixed plan yet of what this page is going to actually have on it, but once this is actually stuck down, you know, we can begin to play with something, you know, how we want the page to come together. So that's just popped on there like that. Just going to take that gorgeous stamped piece and just decide here which way round that we would like our doily. And of course I'm going to ink these pages up. So should we do that now? Oops, I need to be careful that I don't grab. Look, in my hand, the StazOn. It literally even had its lid on, but I was about to pick that up and use it. What is wrong with me? So we're just going to go around the edges here with the walnut stain. Like that. And then we'll go in a little bit more. So just, you know, grunging it up generally. So, and obviously those lines of glue, you know, that's because that glue appears to have been watered down in recent times. They changed the formula of it. So hopefully that's going to all dry clear and not be visible through that page. So I'm just inking this up like that. Okie dokie. Oh, is that not just the most lovely stamp? Just going to bring it up because now it's inked up. Oh, I just absolutely love it. So, you know, I'm not meaning to be here doing the hard sell or anything like that. I mean, obviously, I don't get commission or anything like that. I did get these fantastic, amazing, beautiful stamps. So I'm very thankful for that. But as I said, you know, you have got the 20% off. So I'm not plugging it from a point of view of me getting money. Excuse me, that's the doorbell. So sorry about that. That was the delivery guy again. From Amazon, something else that my son's ordered. Obviously now he's working, he's ordering things from Amazon. Right, so where was I? Yes, I'm not literally trying to just plug these things, you know, from a point of view of I'm going to benefit. I'm, you know, well, I'm not really plugging them at all. I'm just literally kind of saying beautiful, beautiful stamps, and, you know, you have got that 20% off. The code for this particular stamp is CI214. So, you know, just if you are loving that stamp as I am, then I just wanted to let you know that. So, yeah, please don't be put off and think, oh, gosh, she's just now, you know, on the sales thing. I'm really not. I truly do love these stamps. Right, back on task here. So we're going to layer these couple of bits up, and then this is going to be our, you know, pocket piece of some form, which I haven't quite decided how to have this. So I'm just looking around my desk and thinking what kind of pieces we have. I've got this envelope which I've made with some sheet music, which is just like, you know, floating around on my desk. So I could always, you know, pop this patterned piece on there. Although weirdly, actually, I prefer it almost, what's the word, not naked, but you know, I prefer it sort of on here on its own really. Let me have a little bit of a look. So I've obviously got you know, some coffee dyed paper, so we could just literally form like a fold out piece that we could actually pop onto that page. Now it would need to be slightly narrower than that, so let me just see whether this side, this way up, is narrower. Yeah, that is narrower. So I'm just going to trim this down here at the bottom. Now this is some coffee dyed paper. It's thicker than copy paper. I think this is 160 GSM, but I know that I have talked recently that the brand that I normally buy, they seem to have changed. So a bit like the glue, I mean, it was from the same shop, the range. You know, I don't think it's their brand, because I have seen, I mean, obviously that glue and things in other shops. So that's definitely not their brand. But whoever they buy from, you know, and anywhere else who stocks those products, I feel that they have changed them. So this paper, exactly the same. It doesn't feel as thick as it was feeling. But it's still, you know, it's thicker than coffee dyed paper. So let me just pop that into the bin. Oh my gosh. Now I can't see which way up that needs to go. Right. I'm just, you know, leaving these here so that I know roughly where I want them to go. And then what I'm thinking is, if we were to have this here, just like opening out on the edge of that page, or you could have it opening that way actually, and then it's got a bit more of a solid side here that we could make a tuck spot. So what I'm going to do is tear this around and just layer this up onto that coffee dyed piece. So I just take that like that, tear it down like that. Oh, I love how that looks. Right, so we've got that. Now I've got this postcard, which again, what I'm thinking is, now do I want to actually, hang on, before I get, you know, busy tearing, which obviously is my favourite method, I'm just going to cut this down and see whether I might like this poking out as a postcard rather than just a little torn shred of text. So just cutting that out, and I'm thinking, could we have that like poking out? Oh, it's a bit you know, it's not big enough to show behind there, which is a bit of a shame. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this down because I would like to use that piece somewhere else in the journal. I'm going to have to tear this down, which is such a shame, but I'm just going to tear that around like that, pop that in there, because I just want that just sort of poking out behind there like that. Right, let's ink that up like we did the other one. I'm sure it's going to just take on the same amazing look. Just looks gorgeous. Absolutely lovely. So we're going to pop that just poking out, but I might have it at a bit of a, you know, jaunty angle, I think. Did I ink around this? I don't think I did. So I'm going to ink around this so that it just stands out slightly more. Like that. Okay. Okay, that looks really nice to me. So let's pop this piece down like that. And again, you know, we just want to have that slightly you know, slightly angled like that. And then we'll pop this piece down here. So I'm just going all around the edges and obviously all around the middle. And just pop that one in there like that. Just need to move that over slightly so we can see a bit more of that postcard sticking out. No, it's now stuck down. I can't move the postcard any further. Well, we'll just move this a little bit over then. And then what I'll do, I'm just going to trim this down height-wise a little bit. Okay, and then I just need to trim it down this edge slightly. Just slightly, and then I'm going to ink this up. Just had to check there that I had the walnut rather than the blue, because I've still got that blue ink pad just floating around from whatever it was that I did the other day. Oh, I think we did the envelope, which again I will try and obviously incorporate now into this journal. So that looks really nice. Excuse me. So I'm going to commit to this piece here. Like that. Oh, that stamp I think is my favourite so far out of the ones that I've stamped. I really, really, really love that. Yeah, it just is so beautiful. Right, I'm going to put that doily that way up. And again, I'm just going to use my 3-in-1 because of the glue, which just seems to mark that coffee dyed doily with black sort of blobs. There we go. I need to leave it enough room so, you know, I've got it showing, but I've also got, you know, I don't want to cover this up completely. So just glue that down like that. Ah, really pretty. Now, we've got that. Now, what we could do, don't know whether I would want that square. Let's ink this up. Again, I nearly picked up that blue ink pad. You know what I should do really is put that away in the drawer so it's not even there in grabbing distance. So we're just going to ink this up like that. Oh, I might have that square actually because it's a bit of a contrast from the other things. Now, what am I going to put as my focal point? So I've brought along a couple of pieces from my Blue Baroque kit because I just thought they might just tie in quite nicely. That does, doesn't it? I have got this little image. Oh, kind of preferring that, weirdly. Yes. I mean, it's quite small, but looks quite awesome on there, I must say. Yeah, I love how that looks. So I've got that again, what I'm always saying, not cheesecloth, but to me reminds me of cheesecloth, the lining from my top, an old top of mine. Which, let's pop this onto there and do some like frayed edges. Come on, glue. Okay. So just pop that down. And then just cut around that. But leaving, you know, a fair amount of frayed edges on there as well. So I'm just going to sort of, you know, I don't know what that motion with the scissors would be described as, but you know when you kind of press your scissors into the fabric and then almost like tear the fabric against them. Just doing that. Okay, because I want it to be nice and thready. I don't want it to look like it's got no no threads, you know, like I've just cut it in a perfect way, because that would be rubbish. Oh, I just love how that looks. Yeah, really love that. So let's pop this down. Excuse me. Here we go. So we'll just pop this one here. I was sort of having that at an angle, but actually I think I'm just going to have it straight now. So just pop this little image down now. Come on. Okie dokie. Just going to pop that there. Just like slightly more to the side. Oh, I love how that looks. That's so pretty. I mean, it can't not be, because those stamps are so nice, and I love these colours all together. They look really, really nice, don't they? So that's that. And then my white lace that I've got here. Let's see where we could put some white lace, because of course you don't want to have no lace. That would just be horrible and boring, wouldn't it? I'm liking a little bit there, so I'm just going to cut a tiny weeny bit off here, and then again I'm just going to cut that sort of header piece off. Might have that little piece of lace there. That looks so pretty. And then do we want some other lace? Let's just cut off another little piece. And again, I might just cut that down. I just wondered whether we could have that there or something. You see, I want to have this high enough so as it covers up that gold poking out. So I definitely need that, you know, higher rather than lower. So I might just actually glue this on. Now I'm going to glue this on 3 sides so that this can be a pocket piece as well. So we'll just run that down there. Okay, I'm just going to, right, excuse my head, I'm just going to stand this up so that I can check that I have actually covered up that gold, because having said it, I could then picture me not actually managing to cover it up at all. So there we go. Right, I loved that piece of lace down there, so I'm going to just pop that down there. Like that. Okay. So where to have another piece? That's quite nice up there. Let's have a look. I'm also thinking maybe we could have a pretty butterfly somewhere, but maybe up there. So let me just ink the butterfly up. Like that. Oops, excuse me, I've now got literally everything stuck on me again. I mean, that just seems par for the course, doesn't it, with my videos? But let's just have, oh, come on, stop it, stop sticking on me. So that looks rather pretty, doesn't it? So let's just pop this down here. She says, and then the glue's just like taking forever, so sorry about that. There we go. Okay, now I'm just wondering whether I actually do like the top as that is, or whether actually it looks a bit insignificant and I need, oh, definitely preferring it with the whole strip. So Come on. Come on, glue. Yeah, definitely. As soon as I put that there, it just looked like 100% better, I thought. So let's just pop that down. And I'm keeping the header piece on that glue this time. So we'll just press that down like that. And then I'm just going to trim it here at the side. Whoops. Come on. Like that. Oh, that looks so pretty, doesn't it? Okay, now, do we want the butterfly now? Could have the butterfly, I guess, down here now. Yep, let's have the butterfly, because more is always more, I always think. So we'll have the butterfly, and then just wondering whether we want just two bits of bling rather than 3, and that's in a 3. So just, oh, bear with me while I try and find some bling now. No, I can't find any. Ooh, I know that I've got some here. I just don't want to really bore everyone to tears while I'm just looking for it. So, oh, I might have to come back to that and do that after the video. Otherwise, I feel like I've stopped this video like billions of times already. Ah, here we go. Stopped it. Oh, come on. I had it and now I've dropped it. There we go. Yeah, I feel like I've stopped it so many times already. It will be just constant stop-starts. I've also got some pearl trim, which doesn't really kind of go on there very well because that then just gets into that bumpy bit of the lace. I never normally put things in the middle, but for some reason that just kind of looked a bit like the middle, you know, is for some reason just calling me there. So I'm going to pop this down so that the lace is actually glued onto the page, because obviously I don't want to stick something heavy, well, not that this is heavy, but you know, it's heavy compared to obviously just paper and the things that we use, onto like a flapping piece of lace. So by sticking the lace down, it just I don't know what the word would be, but a little bit more robust there, like that. Okay, right, found my Diamante trim, which was what I was actually hunting for in the first place. So I'll just cut that down. And we'll just pop some glue on there. Whoops. Just dropping other things now all around the desk. Right, so I love how that looks. Really, really pretty. Now, finishing kind of touch, I think, for me, is going to be get my little pot of paper clips, and I've got the paper clips that we did obviously in the mass making. So I have a blue one there, which might be nice, and I've got that one. Do I have any other blue ones? I've got another white one. I've got that one. Oh, when I pulled that out I thought, oh no, but maybe, oh yeah, I love that. Right, okay, so now that I've decided on the paper clip, I'm going to just grab a couple of things to clip on to here. So I've got one of my photographs, my architecture pictures, which, you know, I just love these images. So I'm just going to ink around those a little bit. Come on. So I'm going to have one of those. What else am I going to have? I'm going to, I think, stamp another one of those postcards. So let's do that. Now, what shall I stamp that onto? That's the question. Hold on. Let me see what I've got here that would look really nice with that stamped on it. what I mean is I'm looking for some sort of thickish card, because obviously it needs to be robust enough to go onto that page. So, oops, what have I got here? Sorry guys, I'm just hunting under my desk to see what I've got there in the way of, you know, what might look good. So I've got this buff coloured card. I think what I'm going to do is just try and stamp this onto there. So let me just get my black stays on again, which I thought I'd put away, but no, actually it's still here on my desk. Right. Oh, disorganised crafting again. Never mind. Right. Oh, now I haven't attached that to the block, so even more disorganised crafting. Oh dear, I'm just such a shoddy crafter at times, honestly. Right, let's pop that onto the block now. I mean, to be honest, the block's probably more of a hindrance, as I can't actually particularly see where I'm stamping through that filthy block, but right, let's try and hope for the best that we're going to stamp it somewhere vaguely onto that craft card. So again, just press that down. Now, my desk is not the best for stamping, I have to say, because you know, obviously if you've seen my desk video, it's that old you know, old-fashioned, old desk, so it's pretty wobbly. Right, I'm going to cut around my postcard like that. Okay. Okie dokie, so that's 2, and then I have got some here, some other bits from my Blue Baroque kit, which might look quite nice. Oh, I've got that chandelier, that's quite nice. That's that one, I think. So let's just, again, just quickly ink these up so it's all looking really lovely and grungy. Sorry, got threads now, again, stuck all over everything. Right, let's ink this up. Oh gosh, look at that great big blob of ink now. Well, it looks all nice now once it's once it's all inked up, and once it's all on the page, it's going to look good. So, okay, because we want everything looking, you know, pretty grungy and nice. So, just go round. I've actually printed this with a background. The Blue Baroque, it's a, you know, background papers and fussy cuts. Whoa. And included in the background papers, you get a background, something to use as a background. So that's what's printed on the back of there. Just so you haven't got the stark white backgrounds when you print it onto white paper. So that's what that's got on the back. Right, okay. Got there eventually. Now, I am just thinking, does my page need a bit more ink? Just sort of here. Just down there. There we go. Right, okay. Okay, so I'm going to take my paper clip and my cards, like that, and I'm going to just clip them on at the side. So, give me a clip. Oops. Oh, come on, I can't now see to clip that on. Oh, sorry guys. Right, let me just have a look, because I'm struggling now to actually clip that on. Sorry, I'm probably off frame now, or out of frame, off camera completely, but we can't see to do it otherwise. Right, there we go. So my bits are clipped on. How gorgeous does that page look? Ah, just love it, love it. And then we can obviously tuck something into the side as well. So let me just see what else I've got laying around that we could tuck in. I've got some of my Vintage Lady journaling cards, which I could just pop, maybe I'll just pop her in. So let's just ink this up. again so she's nice and grungy like the others. Ink her up on the back as well. Just like that. And just pop her into the pocket at the side. Oh, I love that page. Now, obviously, I am also going to punch holes in the pages, which I haven't done yet. So I'll probably do that in another video. But I hope that you loved the pieces of ephemera that we made today and that sort of page layout that we've done today, using those beautiful stamps and things. And I hope you'll join me again when hopefully we can make some more little bits and bobs using those gorgeous stamps. So thank you very much for joining me and see you all again soon. Thanks then. Bye.